It's a brand new season of the Eco Show.
I'm Bridie Shepherd, a Melbourne-based geographer. Come with me as I travel across Australia to share exciting stories of environmental sustainability.
Get ready, it's gonna get loud.
From compost to coffee, I'll be learning about some of the oldest ways of living with nature,
I'm walking in amongst the ashes of a cultural burn, and it's truly been a unique experience.
as well as some new ones.
It's actually very exciting having a cup of coffee in my hand and then knowing what's going to happen to the grounds.
I'll be looking at creative ways of closing the loop and taking ecotourism to a whole new level.
Starting to get the hang of it.
And of course, I'll be meeting some fairy and feathered friends along the way.
Quite an alien looking
Oh, wow.
species.
You freaky little thing.
Whether it's right in the centre of the city or in the most remote and regional areas, all over the country, incredible people are working hard to make big changes.
Let's check it out together. Welcome to the second season of the Eco Show. My name is Bridie Shepherd, and this season we'll be travelling all around Australia to check out amazing environmental initiatives. Today, we're in Melbourne, my hometown, where we'll be learning about the heart of the city, coffee, and different ways that we can close the environmental loop with our coffee grounds. Let's check it out.
Cafes in Melbourne produce a lot of coffee waste. A standard cafe will produce around 80 kilos of coffee grounds a week. Melbourne-based social enterprise Reground is working with businesses and community groups to divert these grounds from landfill and give them a second life. Reground collects coffee grounds and chaff from cafes and roasteries around Melbourne and delivers it directly to community gardens and local gardeners who use it as compost. I'm starting my day, as I always do, with an early morning coffee, but today I'm at a cafe that has partnered with Reground to close the coffee loop.
So I'm here at one of my favourite local cafes, Brother Bubba Bhudan, and I'm with Joss, who is the manager here. And
G'day.
today we're going to be talking about coffee.
Awesome.
So I know it's quite a simple process, but I'm a bit of a coffee nerd, and
Yeah.
I'd love to know how it actually works. What do you do?
Sweet. So basically, after we pull a shot of coffee, we take the grip handle out, bang it into our knock box.
The puck, right?
The puck that expels the puck into the knock tube. Once that's full, we go and take it out and dispose of it in the reground bin, and then twice weekly, they come and collect it when it's full.
And that's it?
That's it. Simple as.
it?
Yeah.
And this is where the magic happens.
Yeah. We just dump it straight in here. Beautiful.
Can I get in there?
I don't know if you'll fit. A bit tiny.
It's actually very exciting having a cup of coffee in my hand and then knowing what's going to happen to the grounds. This is like a before, and then we'll see the after later.
Time to sit back down and get the full story.
So how did you get involved with Reground?
I believe that we were approached. We were one of the first cafes to come on board with the Reground program. It just really fit with our philosophy and ethos around being sustainable and looking after the environment. For us, being as busy as we are, we go through a lot of coffee. Some venues are doing 80 kilos a week, some are doing 100 kilos a week. So the thought of that ending up in landfill really didn't sit well with us. We try and be ethical and sustainable in our approach to sourcing, so it was only right that we followed through with those type of practices in our cafe operations.
After speaking to Joss about his motivation for closing the loop, I really wanted to learn more about how Reground got started. And what better way than speaking with the company's founder, Nina Larson.
How did you get involved in this? Like, how did it all start?
Yeah, well, I came to Australia in 2012. I am from Denmark and I have been sort of working in the sustainability space in Denmark. And so I came to Australia just thinking I was going to be here for a year traveling. And just like many travelers, we kind of work in hospitality. And so I worked at a very busy cafe, and I started reflecting on why is all of this coffee going straight into this landfill bin, and what actually happens to waste in landfill. And so when I understood that problem, because in landfill, organic waste breaks down and it creates methane gas, so it's quite toxic. And we don't have to have that problem because coffee is a resource. It's something that can be composted. It can also be used for other things. So I just thought, why not do something about it? Why not buy a bin and try and wheel that down to Ceres? So I worked up in Brunswick East, very close to Ceres, and I started rolling that bin down.
So you literally had a wheelie bin that you were dragging down the street to the local garden.
Yes, but you know, it got into a good habit of me wheeling that down, and then eventually I borrowed a Subaru Forester and started putting that very heavy bin into the Forester and driving it down, and then it's sort of grown from there, and now we have vans.
So it's a big van now.
Yeah, yeah. So we can fit 20 bins in one of these vans, and it makes it all very much easier.
So how do these grinds actually benefit the community and community gardens?
Yes, coffee can be used for a lot of different things, but most of our end users use them in compost and for building soil health. So coffee grounds, they really bring out all the earthworms. So there's this element of worms and activity in our soil that really is great, and coffee is helping with that. But it's high in certain nutrients, and that is what we need to talk about when we talk about soil health, because our soils need to be fed a diet of different nutrients. So coffee is helping out with certain nutrients, and it's not everything.
Do you have any idea of how much you've saved from going into landfill?
Yes. So to date, we've saved around 700,000 kilos of coffee.
I almost can't comprehend that. It's a lot.
Yes, it is a lot. But it's not all. We are only working with around 160 cafes. It is a growing number, but we have many, many more cafes that are still throwing coffee into landfill. So still got a way to go.
All the cafes should be behind this. I don't understand why they're not.
We will keep, bringing on more cafes, because the more coffee that we collect, the more impact we have, and the more people in the community we get to work with. So all of our end users, as we call them, they are local gardeners, they're community gardens. They all get this resource for free. So it's a really good hands-on way to educate people in the community about using waste as a resource. And so every time we have another cafe join our movement, we can help more people, and we can start this conversation that's so critical for just getting people to think about waste and not have that out of sight, out of mind mentality that often is associated with waste.
I love it. I've never actually thought about where my coffee waste is going.
No.
And I've consumed so much coffee.
Yeah, it is hard.
Yeah, and now knowing about Reground, I'm going to be looking out for any businesses that are actually involved, because it's really nice to know that they're closing the loop.
Exactly. We have a little certification that we have on the windows of our cafes. And so when you go to a cafe and it has that certification, it means that, you know that the coffee is going to a garden nearby.
I'm looking forward to Reground slowly but surely solving all of the waste problem of all the cafes in Melbourne.
Yeah.
We've seen the brand new van, and now it's time to hop in and continue this journey.
I'm about to meet Joe and tag along on his route today.
So your job when you're in the truck is essentially just go and pick up all the bins, do a really good job.
A really good job.
Yeah. And then you take them out to the gardens, or you take them out to different users.
Exactly. So that's a model. Basically, we collect all the coffee and the chaff during the day, and on the day of collection, in the afternoon, we deliver it to that gardener. So, and that's the idea. So all the coffee that you're drinking at that cafe goes to a garden within 30 Ks of that cafe. So, because it is a valuable resource that we're keeping in the community. It's useful and people are making use of it. So why not? We're just basically that middle, that connection between the cafes and the restaurants that want to do the right thing and stop this resource going to landfill, and the gardeners that would like to make use of it. So it's a really simple model. You know, we're not like some fancy tech company, but yeah, we're just out there doing it.
Next up on Joe's route is Industry Beans in Fitzroy. While Joe is doing his job, I might go do mine by chatting to Yal from Industry Beans. So do you have any idea of the impact you've had by working with Reground?
When I first came on board in 2019, we had a sort of about 15,000 kilograms of coffee grounds, a large amount of coffee chaff. I think it was around 600 kilograms.
So before you worked with Reground, was all this going to landfill?
We would assume so, absolutely. You know, there weren't very many other options at that point in time. So when Reground came knocking, I think Industry Beans was really keen to sort of, do what we can to divert, those useful products somewhere where they can be used again.
Yeah, they're huge numbers. And you've got such a big organisation here. So how many coffees do you turn a day?
At this venue, on a quiet day, about 500 up to a sort of around 800 coffee mark. So yeah, it can be a significant amount. And then it adds up pretty quickly when you think about our other venues around the country as well. There's a phenomenal amount of usage there, yeah. Found that, whenever there's a project to offer, Reground picks up the phone and calls us, which is great. We've got a bit of a relationship there. And yeah, I just think it's really nice. There is a sort of personalized level of service. We see the same team members from Reground coming and picking up our chaff. They have a chat with the roasters on the way in. I see them, on a Friday when they come to pick up. It's great. I think they know us, we know them, and there's a real sort of, understanding of each other there, which is, an awesome thing.
Thanks so much for meeting with me today. Is it time for my third coffee of the day?
Are you keen?
I probably shouldn't, but yes, we should.
Let's do it.
So I've just learnt that this is all recyclable, this packaging. And as a consumer, this is something I think about really a lot, because you get to the end of a bag and you normally just have to throw it in the trash. So it's really nice to know that someone's actually doing something about this. But now I just need to work out which beans I want to buy this time.
3 coffees down and we're on to the final stop of this tour. Back into the van with Joe I go.
The great thing with coffee is that it smells great forever. So you can have it in your yard and just use it as you need it, like adding it to your composting system or as a top mulch as you need it. And it sort of doesn't really spoil. Yeah. And we also encourage, gardeners that live in the inner city, perhaps that have like less yard space or front lawns, they share with their neighbors. That's the nicest part of the job at the end of the day, getting to the garden and just seeing, meeting the people that are making use of it. And man, it's always such a highlight. I'm glad I got here in one piece without crashing the new van.
Oh, didn't crash it.
So this is it.
Oh yeah. Joe and I have just arrived at Pentridge Community Garden and we're about to unload the truck, get the coffee grinds out, and then we're meeting committee member Russell to see what happens in the garden.
Hey Russell.
Hi Joe.
Hi.
Fabulous. I've got a spot right here for you.
Great.
Lovely.
Let's do it.
All right,
So,
just chuck it in.
yeah, basically lid off,
Yeah.
Yep.
tip it over.
Yeah.
Oh, it smells so good still.
Bang.
Good stuff.
That's it.
Want to do that?
The reason I wear boots.
Now, that's a heavier one, isn't it?
I'm so strong.
Okay. some of them get very heavy.
All right, you got it.
Oh no, that's only half full.
It's very full.
That's good.
All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
That was great, right? So Joe and I are just making some space for the coffee grounds that are coming in. There's a lot of coffee grounds and not enough space. It smells really good. You've got a lot of bins to unload right now, so I'm gonna leave you to do that, and then maybe Russell and I can have a bit of a walk through the gardens.
Sure.
Great.
Okay.
So can you tell me a little bit about how the composting happens in the gardens?
Well, compost was really the first thing we started with in the garden. When we had nothing else, we started, because we had weeds to compost. So we started building a compost first up. And it's always been crucial because it's always been part of the process of building up the soil, has always been absolutely necessary. We've always had stuff to put in it. It's actually developed, however. It looks very simple, but there's actually a lot going on there. We get materials from all over the place, as well as the coffee grounds from Reground. We get sawdust, we get cardboard from people. So we've got a whole range of things which we're recycling here, as well as the coffee grounds.
So it's not necessarily just about finding the most nutrient-dense compost that you can put on the gardens. It's also about minimising waste from your local area.
Yes, absolutely. And we've talked to people around the area, and from time to time we've actually taken scraps from various places as well.
So how did you become involved with Reground?
Well, I think we were approached by Reground as a potential site for depositing coffee grounds, I believe. But it was very early on, so it was some years ago now. But I think we started the garden here in 2017, and I think Reground would have started around that same time. So I think it was pretty early on that Reground sort of said, "Would you like some coffee grounds?" and things started coming. So it's been a long association. Yeah?
Can you show me a bit more about how the composting of the grounds works?
Yes. Okay. Sure.
Great. All right, so this is where all the magic happens.
It is. So we have all the materials here. We have sawdust, leaves, and coffee husks, things that are mixed together.
Coffee husks in here?
Coffee husks.
Can I have a look?
Yeah, sure.
Ah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So what we try and get people to do is to put their scraps in the bins in the front here.
Yep.
So we've got a sign telling them where to put it. They put their scraps in here, and if they can, we'd like them to put some brown, whether it's leaves or coffee husks or sawdust, something in there to mix it up with some of the green material. And then those bins in the front, right along the front here, get filled up. And when they do, then we get some of our young, keen gardener members to move with a fork them across into the next row of bins at the back here. It then sits there for another week or so. And as you can see, it collapses down a fair bit too, so it doesn't stay exactly the way it was.
And it smells great. It still smells really
It doesn't
fresh.
smell too bad.
Yeah.
You can tell when it's not
When it's not doing well.
It doesn't smell well.
Yep.
And then it's been mixed once, and then before we put it over here, we mix it again, and again making sure you've got all the things. The mix is about right. So it's getting water, the right amount of moisture, getting the right brown to green ratio, and the right mix of it all. So, and if you get all that, then nature does the rest. You know? So it's all microbes and slaters and other microorganisms. Yeah?
Can we see any worms?
Russell has kindly accommodated my very specific request.
Cockroach! Get a close up of the worms. Look at them! Oh. Oh, look at the good little chicken in This one's a little fat one. Let's see what else this garden has to offer. Come look at these beautiful zucchinis. Look at these beautiful leaves. Look at this incredible pattern. It's silver and it's mottled. It's incredible. And then if you come in here, you can see all the zooks growing in these beautiful flowers. What an incredibly large plant. They must be doing a lot right in this garden. How good was today? I got to have a coffee in the city and then I got to see where the grounds are actually going, and I've ended up in this really beautiful, tranquil garden. It's been so nice seeing how the loop is so efficiently closed here, and it's just put to such good use. What an incredible community that has come out of this amazing organisation. Next time on the Eco Show, I'll be going to greener pastures all around Australia, and I can't wait to show you some of the amazing stories. See you next time.